Hello, and welcome to Depth Perception. We discuss movies and dive into how films direct the way we experience them. We create a perception of sound, a perception of sight, with a dimension of mind. We move into a land of both shadow and substance, of themes and ideas. I got K-Max with me.
It's good to be here.
I got the Tin Man with me.
It's also good to be here.
All right. We got Mary and Max. Mary and Max, I think I have this copy and paste from the preview last episode. It's an Australian stop-motion animated movie from 2009. Written and directed by Adam Elliott and stars the voices of Philip Seymour Hoffman, Toni Collette, Eric Bana, and Bethany Whitmore. This movie is about the pen-pal friendship of a girl and a middle-aged man with Asperger's syndrome over the span of 27 years. So here are your talking points.
If I can keep them
subtle.
Let's see if I can keep them that subtle the whole time.
It's Valentine's weekend, so very gentle.
Yeah. I'll work my way up.
For some. Initial reactions, favorite scenes. How much of an impact our actions have on our friends. How we can improve as friends. Effectiveness of using animation for such poignant themes. Use of imperfection.
Starting to hammer it now.
I'm really working my way up.
Attaboy.
Theme and why. All right, guys. Initial reactions. What do you got?
I would go with it was kind of heavy. It started off kind of lighthearted, and then she had so Mary starts off as this child who kind of has there's like adult things happening around her, but she has them on she views them like as a child, so it's kind of innocent, lighthearted silliness. And then it gets kind of heavy. There's mental illness, depression, suicide is all like kind of introduced later on. So it seemed like I don't know, it was a very encompassing story that seemed like kind of heavy. There's a lot of deep, rich and serious themes that kind of throughout that'd be my initial reaction.
I don't think I was prepared for how heavy it was going to be either.
Yeah.
I don't know if the same studio as Wallace and Gromit, but I just remember there was some really, really fun, playful things in that. And there were some of those here, like the goldfish, Henry VIII and Henry IX, and the rooster and things like that. And, there was some slapstick along the way that made it was like the sugar that helped the medicine go down. But it was full of a lot of very, very, very powerful meds, I thought. Really heavy themes, like you said. There was, you know what I mean, like even like love and loss and wanting. I was impressed with and I know we'll get to it, I'm sure, animation's ability to put those heavy images in my head. Just really, really thought-provoking images and reaching sadness parts and happiness parts and compassionate parts and making you feel the depths of you just wanted so desperately for their friendship to work out because they needed it so desperately. So I found myself a lot of times saying, come on, just bear with it. But they made characters who had a little blind spot for not knowing that this is a person trying to be a friend here. And I thought that was compelling too. Yeah. But I enjoyed it though. I enjoyed it.
It was interesting, yeah.
I saw this when it first came out. It was one of those movies I saw at Best Buy and was just like, yeah, let's try it.
How long ago did it come out?
2009.
2009? Okay. I mean, wow.
But I remember I grabbed it. I think I watched it, and then I brought it up for like a movie night with cousins. And I remember consuming it more on the light side, I guess. Like finding the funny parts funny and the sad part's kind of like, well, you need those to balance this out. And, I didn't think that much of it. But when I watched it with the group, I remember at the end of it, it would be Tiffy's brother, Bua.
Yeah.
Yeah, yep.
Yeah.
Continue our nickname thing here. But he was like, "Man, that movie was sad," and I remember feeling like Cousin Eddie from Christmas Vacation, like, why are you crying? But I saw like other people were affected by it more deeply. You know? And they all said they wouldn't hear the song "Que Sera" the same after that movie. But it provoked rethinking that movie after watching it with other people to see how they reacted to that movie. And it's funny because the last time I saw a movie was like 15 years ago now, 15 or 16 years ago.
Wow.
And I feel like it's clear as day remembering some of those scenes in there. And so I think it certainly did its job in staying power and provoking these thoughts of friendship, and especially to our conversation that we had last episode. So I think it's an important movie.
Yeah, sure is.
How about favorite scenes?
Well, I mentioned it right before we started recording, but my favorite, the funniest line I thought in the movie was, Mary finally gets a letter back from Max, and the mom, Vera, finds the letter, doesn't like it, crumples it up, throws it in the garbage. So she goes to so the garbage man comes to pick up the garbage. She forgets the one bag that has the stuff in it, falls over and it blows and it breaks to pieces, and the letter falls out. Mm-hmm. She tries to bag up all the garbage and asks the garbage man, "You got space for one more bag?"
I thought I had a pretty good impression before we recorded,
it was good.
But now I can't find it.
What did they say? You got room for one more
Yeah,
bag?
sure, Miss Dinkle.
Yeah. Sure, Miss Dinkle, hop in. Yeah. I quietly giggled to myself. I laughed out loud, and then I quietly giggled to myself, thinking about it like 3 more times. Like, listen to the movie. Got room for one more bag. That's my favorite. I thought that was the funniest line, at least personally. But like a favorite scene. I don't know. Like when they were getting the letters from each other pretty steadily, like their communications, it felt fun, felt light. It felt like enjoyable. I don't know. It always had little moments where something sad would happen, or something that they're like, oh, they're struggling with this. There's a problem here. Or they're, but the lighthearted moments like broke up the the despair. It was a nice reprieve from the despair.
I know what you're talking about, because it felt like there's like always another bump in the road until like. Had to be more towards the end when he forgives her, and then it's like, oh, and then time passes by, and like they're sending stuff back and forth.
Yeah.
So I can see that.
I enjoyed how much they were able to just focus on the really, really hardcore content, the way that the movie was made. They didn't have to fill a lot of time, because they would just give almost like a silent film 9 months later. 1 year later.
Yep.
So you could feel it gave it time to breathe, like a real natural. Just by putting that in there, you get this letter from someone you don't have any friends. You get this from your only source of what could be a friendship, and it just crushes you. And then what happens? Marinating for 2 months on that, and then the response goes out. And I thought that was a clever way of doing it, because we know how that feels to get news or something, or to feel betrayed even for a second, or to feel uplifted and encouraged. And then how that can work with you. And then you're waiting for that next thrill or that next payoff. And you're like, what the heck? This didn't mean the same things it did to you. I thought we had a nice little volley going on here.
Yeah.
Where did you go? This film did a nice job of letting you feel that time pass without making you wait forever for it. It also made you feel real nice when you got the letter. The way that it just had them reading it in their own voice. Mm-hmm. And the illustrations that they had, I thought were cool to show, the loneliness, the betrayal, her being bullied, and him being bullied and taken advantage of in some ways in his area of the world. Mm-hmm. I also thought it was kind of cool to see how the way that the movie was made, allowed for some really, really awkward themes to just be kind of addressed. Like, of course, the drunken mother, of course she didn't want her daughter talking to a 40-year-old mentally ill man, and you know what I mean, or someone very at least with a disability in the United States. So yeah, she's gonna throw that away.
Yeah.
And even like he didn't know he had a disability to begin with.
Sure.
But like the way that she read the letter is like, whoa, what are we doing here?
Right. Like rubbing on each other, sexing or whatever. I mean, that came, I think, a letter or two later, but still, I thought it was really, really.
Well, he sent a picture of him, and he's just kind of like goofy looking. As like you're exchanging pictures with a 4-year-old guy.
Right. Did a real nice job of capturing some really hard to quantify emotions between two people, and not to get ahead of myself, but I really like that they picked these two kinds of characters because they are two characters that are, I'm not going to say represented, but I don't mean it like I need representation from every group in my movie consuming. But it was nice to see these two characters carrying this story of friendship and loneliness and kinship. These two flawed, I guess, commercially flawed characters, but they had beautiful stories to tell. I thought that was kind of a brave choice of characters to say, I'm going to have these two characters tell this story.
Was there a scene specifically that speaks to how you feel about that?
I'm sure there was. I'm sure there was plenty. I just know the way they addressed each other, like how she randomly picked this guy from a phone book.
Yeah.
And the time when you could see him kind of saying, I don't have any friends. You know what I mean? Like, thank you for reaching out, kind of a thing. And here's an exchange of, I see you like sweets. I'm going to send you the best I have at that. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to cater to your needs the best I can in a very innocent way, maybe naive, very naive. And they naively volleyed love back and forth to each other.
Yeah.
I don't think either of them would call it love, but it was love. They volleyed it back and forth to each other, like friends should.
Yeah.
With unquantified love, you said you like this. Here it is. Mm-hmm. You said, I picked up that you might have liked this, or you might have needed this. Here's this. I like even when he's like, I imagine, doing hobbies and things there, and it shows her like being in a kangaroo pouch.
Yeah.
A little, like, that's his imagination, how he imagines her being. And so as a friend, he imagines her being happy, being carried and bounced around in this kangaroo or whatever. Mm-hmm. I seen their own personal, I even hate to say it, their flaws, things that they don't have, things that are not their strengths, cause them to be vulnerable to be in this pen pal relationship.
Yeah, it is a social isolation for different reasons.
Yeah,
but they have a social isolation that they're don't know how to navigate.
Yeah,
aren't sure of and confuzzled.
Like yeah, but I like the invention of the words even too. It was very, very well thought, very smart movie. Mm-hmm. The doctor so and so that he had, at least he had a professional helping him navigate his process, and he quoted him a lot.
Hasselhoff.
Yeah, he quoted him very often when he would to her. Yep. So she had a chance to understand him, whereas she was getting her input from her drunken mom or stepmom or whatever, and from what other people were saying about her. The eyes, the color of dirty puddles.
Yeah.
And poop, birthmark, the color of poop.
Yeah.
She was getting her input not from a clinician, but from the world at large and the community around her. But she was able to share that and get that off her chest. I felt good that they had each other. I feel that way about friendships all the time. Like, I'm glad they had someone. I could easily put myself in here with my neediness, but I'll use our friend and my nephew Ralph. I think I've told both of you guys in Boat how thankful I was for each of you guys that he had you guys, because he was a different breed of cat, and I thought, boy, it's gonna be tough for him to find that friend group that understands him or cares to get him. And I remember when he had it, I remember Lisa being just so happy, still is to this day, that he had you guys. I'd say probably because, very much like myself, I'm a quirky dude. It's hard to find people that put up with quirks or even accept them and think, yeah, that's kind of fun, And I felt that way, that emotion. I felt that same way about these characters. I'm like, man, I'm glad they found each other in this crazy ass world of people that'll pick on you, take advantage of you. They didn't do that. Now they messed up, but it was honest messed ups that pulled them apart a little bit.
Yeah.
But it was nothing. There was no mens rea.
malice.
There was no malice. There was no guilty intent.
Right.
Anyway, I'm going forever on there. Really good though. First
Yep.
impression, really good.
The for me, it felt like a emotional metronome, where you went from extremes, happy to sad, throughout the movie until that metronome stopped going as far left or right. It started to go more center until there's balance at the end when you have the two different shades of gray here. You had Max's concrete, cold gray, and then you had Mary's like sepia gray, and you can see kind of the balance. But when she walks into his world, and you see that how much she actually sticks out in his world, and you see the blotches of red throughout the story. I don't know if it was a
Pom-pom
on his yarmulke, and then her bags. But you see it kind of balanced. So if you mix red with gray, you get the sepia color, and that's her as she walks in. So it's kind of like finally these two worlds are meeting, and it felt like it belonged to me when you see her sitting next to him on the couch when he's passed away. Like it felt like she belongs there, and she was like very important piece in that space. It felt like
That's beautiful, actually. I'll say it. That is beautiful. I really well done to this film.
And one of my other favorite scenes was when a character like Max, because he's had trouble understanding people his whole life. They confuse him, right? When he gets the news that Mary published a book using him as a case study, sends her the M key back to her, kind of says some things, and puts her in a dark place, and he's kind of in this dark place as well. But he comes across the homeless guy outside his apartment who throws the cigarette down, and he starts choking him. And it was that moment there where the homeless guy says sorry, and you see it kind of click in Max's head. One of the few things that he was able to understand from someone, it was, he's hurting this person to the point where they're trying to say sorry. And it was kind of the exact same thing that was happening with Mary, where she did something, no malice to it. Like, this guy's just throwing away a cigarette butt, and she's just, hey, I'm trying to help you. If you got this going on, I want to try and understand it. But it offends him so much, and he reacts in the way he does, and sees how much harm he's causing this homeless man, and how that connects to how he's treating Mary in the same way, whereas, it's not like she's doing it to hurt him, but he starts choking, and, he starts hurting Mary through words, and this person is squeaking out sorry, like, as they're being choked. And it felt the same way when she sends the can of condensed milk that says I'm sorry on it. It kind of felt the same way, and I think that's how Max was able to connect and say, okay, I accept your apology.
Yeah.
Maybe even like I may have said some things I shouldn't have, or I hurt you in the same way you may have hurt me here. So I thought that was one of my favorite scenes too.
Super cool way to articulate some real complex emotions. I have to chase this rabbit for a second.
Okay.
M. We watched M in season 1. And if you remember, how accountable is this? Part of it was how accountable is this person who has this mental, how accountable should they be for their crime?
Oh, yeah.
Remember?
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
I thought about that with this. Like, there's this guy who's triggered from this, and he might have gotten off of the charges for being mentally, you know what I mean, and then being triggered and him doing this, and then it clicks in his head that this is wrong. I'm hurting somebody, and I just thought of the key was M too that he sent back. I'm like, too many recalls, too many things to not actually cite from a previous episode. I'm like, wow,
Yeah.
I hate what you're doing to me.
I don't have time to come up with another string of alliteration with M.
right. It's really good though. I just thought to myself, man, that's a neat, heavy thing. Yeah, coming back to how impressive it was, how this film made you. It didn't take a lot of time to do it either. It was like, we're going to hold your hand here. We're running through this storyline because we got to cover 27 years of friendship, and we got to cover her origin story and his origin story a little bit. And it did it so well.
I'm usually not too fond of movies that include a whole lot of narration. Like, we're told show, don't tell.
Right.
But this movie, I think, did it just about perfectly, narrating for these characters that have trouble expressing themselves verbally.
I think that's exactly why we forgive them, because they needed some ushering. Both of these kinds of characters, they're not going to tell you a lot. They're not going to give you a lot themselves.
I wanted to shout out Valentine's Day also, because, of course, the only it's the day after Valentine's right now. The only holiday in the movie was Valentine's Day. So I thought that how often is Valentine's Day shown in movies?
Yeah.
Was that
was
planned?
funny.
Was that on purpose?
That wasn't on purpose, no.
Interesting.
Shout out to our first season where that happened. Seemed like every week there was some little connection like that. All right. Let's hit the ding here.
Speaking of Valentine's Day.
How much of an impact our actions have on our friends?
Oh my goodness.
Friends have impact much? What? Nice.
The sheriff.
How much impact our actions have on friends?
How did this movie represent that idea?
I mean, entirely. I mean, that's the scary part. There's so many movies that tackle that we need people. We need a support, that we need no man is an island, And that's always been something in my head that I'm always fascinated with. When anybody claims I'm fine, I don't need people, I'm like, I can't relate to that, because I need people so much. You know what I mean? And I'm one of the, everybody needs people, but I'm one of the rare people that admit it, that how much I need, and conversely, how much I articulate that to my friends, like, man, I appreciate you, because I know how needy I am for that. This movie shows two very lonely and isolated individuals who really, really, really depend on the smallest action, or the smallest, I found something in common with this person, and this is something that I always think is important, someone who gets me, or they value me enough to try to get me. So even if you don't get me, you're reaching out and trying to understand me. That is what is essentially so needed by both characters, that they have someone that for once in their life is trying to understand them.
Yeah.
So that, someone that seeks to understand you, the impact they had on them.
I like, as an audience, we're shown the reactions of these characters from the letters that they read, but these characters don't get to see the other person's reaction. They're waiting weeks at a time, months at a time, years at a time to hear back from the other person, to see what their thoughts, what their emotions, what their reactions are to their letter. So I might take for granted seeing that instant reaction as they're reading the letter, but the characters don't know at that time, what the other person's feeling. they showed it where she's waiting for letters to come as she's drinking, the whole day. I think the movie displays that, anxiety, that the importance of that other person's reaction to how you are expressing yourself. And I think that's a huge one for how much of an impact our actions have on our friends.
Yeah.
I mean, the main example is her writing her publishing whatever her work with him as the case study for Asperger's, and him reacting the way he did and only sending the key to her. So he didn't explain it to her. He just sent the letter, and it's up to her to interpret what that symbolic gesture meant. So I think that's an important one right there to me, is that when you went from expressing yourself to just sending a symbolic gesture, and I think that can be almost used as a weapon, right? I mean, he meant to kind of return the hurt a little bit to her.
Yeah, he sure did.
So instead of saying, "This is how you hurt me, let me tell you, I'm confuzzled, I'm betrayed," instead of doing that, to me is almost like didn't want to give her that courtesy, because you see him get angry again, ball up the paper, and then just give the key. And that was an action meant to hurt, I feel like. Tin Man, what do you think? What did you see?
What was the question again?
How the movie shows how much of an impact our actions have on our friends.
Oh, okay. Well, one of them I'll go out is Max's anxiety attacks when he's reading her letters.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
He's like shaking in the corner because of almost of what they've built together might demand from him now. Now that the relationship is kind of built, he doesn't know how to react to this much being asked of him, to think, to analyze, to return. And it's like a lot of overwhelming feelings that he gets, and he turns into like this rocking mess for a while before he can let it pass and then start to try to analyze the letter after the fact.
I like the way you said that too, like the demands that are on him now.
Yeah.
Like, I wanted this. I thought I wanted this, but now I have to, Yeah,
the initial thing, there's no expectations between the two. Once there's a regular communication, it's almost like, well, this much is kind of expected now. Now that there's a level of expectation attached to it. Oh man, I don't know. Like I'm over my head, and like I feel like there's few people I know who actually I could look at and go, oh, that's a thing now. Gray Cat was one of them, where he had like, if you had a certain level of expectation, he felt like he couldn't meet it. He almost throw himself out a window just to avoid the awkwardness.
He'd flip out his phone. There's a few times he'd flip it out, and start to talk into it. And, kind of point. Oh.
Yeah. I gotta go. I remember he was at his own birthday party because it was at your mom's house. He's like, "Hey man, can you come pick me up?" I was like, "Yeah, sure." I pull in and I'm like, "Man, there's a lot of cars here." Like, yeah. There's a party going on. He gets in. I'm like, "Is it for your birthday?" I was his escape from his own birthday because there was too many people. He was like,
reminds me of that John Mulaney bit. He's like, I walk in and it's 7 of my very best friends. I thought, shoot, we're having some kind of intervention. He goes, and it was for me.
I should have said that too. What is it, intervention? Should I get out of here? James, come on. He's like, I think I left my shoes outside, and just jumped in my car. He's like, get out of here. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah, I felt that in this movie, though. Exactly what you said, like the weight on him and the animation and the filmmaking. Yeah, it is filmmaking. It's a different kind of, but it was powerful to show the images. And I seen him, he was farther and farther into the corner as he read, and he was getting farther in there, and he was like rocking, and it was even the little narration of what it wasn't the narrator, it was his voice, Philip Seymour Hoffman's voice, talking about going through the thought process of how he was feeling, how it was starting to add up on him. I'm like, someone got into my head. Someone wrote into my head, and those things can make you feel when you're feeling them for the first time.
But I felt like the relationship was strong enough that eventually he was like, okay, I'm going to get over it. I'm going to reciprocate, and then comes up with coping mechanisms for it. Like if I ever felt the tension rising, I stopped, I ironed them, I laminated the letters.
Sometimes I took these 2 pills.
Yep, sometimes I take
Just
these
like
2 pills.
Dr. Hasselhoff said to do.
Yep.
See, I love that part of it, that they wove that into it, that, you know, he had clinical answers to some things. These are things in my toolbox that I've been given from a professional, and they didn't just make fun of it. They didn't just make light of it. The filmmakers made it so that these are tools that you have, and took it seriously, which I don't even know if I take it seriously at the point, as I'm a professional in this field a little bit. And I still thought this is just a lighthearted movie and we're going to have some fun with this or whatever. And not in any teasing way, but just like a lighthearted way.
Yeah.
I like that the filmmakers did that, but they still really, really gave validity, and they really gave some sensitivity to the fact that this guy he has value. He's got some things about him that are going to make this transaction difficult.
Yeah,
I thought they did
one
a great
of the
job.
lines the doctor had mentioned, because the doctor didn't say it. He says it to the doctor says it to him, and then he says the doctor said it. Was that everyone's life is kind of like a sidewalk. Some of them have more cracks, some of them have, and describe them being differently and how to manage them. It's like it's probably similar to mine, except mine probably has more cracks. Something like that. And I was like, oh, okay, it's interesting enough.
I thought that was cool, super cool.
I think it was interesting the families and the backgrounds that these characters had, because it emphasized how important friendship is. We saw Vera, we saw Mary's dad, and they weren't the most supporting people. And then we saw when Mary was put into her depression there, when Max sent her the M, and it showed that friendship superseded even marriage. So in this movie, friendship was more important than marriage. It was more important than family, and it lasted more than either of those things too. So I thought that was pretty interesting.
Yeah.
And I thought it did a good job of showing how much that we don't know about our actions, like how much it motivates our friends that we just don't know about. When she gets to Max's apartment, and you see the ceiling has all of the letters, and they verbalized how much their friendship meant, but to really see it, that's how he passed. It said he passed peacefully that morning, and he's staring up at the letters, and he's just reading them, or he's just looking at them, admiring them. So I think that's a cool thing to show in a movie, is that we don't know the positive effect.
Yeah.
That, how much that motivates our friends.
That's beautiful. It's well said, and it's also well done by the movie to do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think last episode too, I talked about how friends have the power to isolate and to provide solitude, and we need to be cognizant when we're doing either of those things. And I thought this movie showed both, when Max sent the M and chose to isolate her, and that sent her into a depression. So you saw that a friend is able to use that as a weapon, but I think you also see her providing solitude to him and not writing again and again and again. It was just gave him space and sent "I'm sorry" in the form of a can of condensed milk, but didn't push the issue. So it was kind of like, I'm hurt and I am sorry and I'm depressed, but you sent me this as a symbolic gesture, and I'm going to honor how you're feeling right now, because I know that I've hurt you. So here's my apology, and I'm here when you're ready to reach back out. So I thought you saw both solitude and isolation.
Yeah, really good.
Was there anything else you guys saw on? I mean, tons of it. But anything else, if it relates to our last episode or any other visual?
Yeah, there's still the effects of what the friendship had on the weight of it. I couldn't help but kind of piggyback on what you said about it superseded even their romantic relationships, and they're born to families. And the line at the end of the film when it said, "Thank goodness," kind of thank God that friends are chosen family. That wasn't wasted on me. It was like the randomness, thousands of an ocean separated these two people, and everything else, an ocean, and it was the least thing that separated them. Everything else about them separated them, and yet they were the lifeline to hope and the lifeline to actually living life for each other over the miles and over the years and over the other things that separated them. And that line that the filmmaker put in there, like, thank God for that friends are, family that we choose. You know what I mean? I think of, is it Max? Is that the main character, Max? Mm-hmm. I think of his family life, of the mom, being widowed and then killing herself when he was, 6? Mm-hmm. With his uncle's gun. Mm-hmm. Him knowing that as a very, very, very well-adjusted young person or adult would be impossible to deal with. Put that in someone who's on the spectrum, autistic spectrum of Asperger's, who's pretty far down the spectrum. How do you even begin to understand that and own that and make sense of that in your world when the last person who's in charge of loving you most presses eject? Mm-hmm. When someone in that particular state on that spectrum, if a school bus is pulling out, that is their only way home, and I am in a tailspin because that bus is leaving. And I'm not naming any names, so I feel like I'm perfectly comfortable saying this. I was working with a student, a second grader, and we were going over the homework. And the team had decided we're going to go over the homework before they get on the bus, and we're going to hold the buses. And so we told the team, hold the bus while they go over this stuff and put it in his backpack. Mm. And meanwhile, the young man is looking down the hallway and seeing the buses slowly pulling away. And the team is looking at me as the lead teacher to make sure I do this, and I'm putting it in his backpack. They're not going to leave you. They're going to leave. He takes off running, saying, you can bleep this, but I'm going to say what the young man said, the second grader said, "Holy shit, the bus is leaving me." As he runs down the hall, and every adult is chasing him like he's being naughty. But that bus to him is his lifeline to home.
Right.
There's no other way home. There's no other. And as I'm chasing him, this fat old guy chasing him across, we go outside and he's running. Other buses are going. He's running across the grassy knoll to get to his bus as it's going onto the road now.
Oh, man.
And, the team is talking discipline, and I'm saying this is not his fault. That is his way home right there. And, well, we know he could have called. He knows we could have, he does not. He gets that. If we sit him down and talk to him, he will understand that, yes, this is, and there are better ways to handle this. But it is our faults that he acted the way he did right there, and even said what he did right there. That's not him being naughty. He's freaking out because that's his way home. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And, I had so much, not sympathy, because they don't need our sympathy, but I had so much understanding for Max and the hurts that he had and the unique situation he had, because it was a 1 second line of the people that he cared most about and that are supposed to care for him the most, just saying, "I can't do this," and boom, I'm out. Mm-hmm. Now he's by himself. He's trying to navigate all of this, and when I look at it that way, he's doing pretty darn well, pretty good for himself. Understanding the world and seeing it and making a go of it, and again, it's close to home in some ways because this is a very misunderstood population who have a lot to give. But because I look at them as like being a sports car with a transmission that's shot. They can do high performing things, but they can't shift that gear themselves because the automatic transmission's shot. That's a warranty issue. You know, that's a builder's issue. That's not that sports car's issue. Anyway.
I think
That's interesting.
yeah, I like that analogy. It's hard to quantify like our impacts as people and as friends, but I think this movie did a cool job of seeing a character get provided that evidence that she is a good friend, that she was doing good. Because she walks into the apartment at the end, she sees there's the condensed milk that he's added to his daily regimen. There's the tears that I gave him in front of the mirror that has my picture on it. And there's all the letters on the ceiling. So it felt good to see that she was validated in her efforts as a friend.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, let's move into how we can improve as friends. Because even though by the end it felt like she had a handle on it and Max was at peace, there was certainly a lot of turmoil before that. So were there certain scenes that spark ideas of where we can go wrong as friends? Mm-hmm. You know, we talked about responsibilities as friends last episode. Mm-hmm. Did we see any visual representation of that in this movie?
I have some, but I talked a lot. I don't mind talking more though. I really enjoyed this.
If I had something really out there, I would beat you to it.
Yeah, I don't mind firing away. Then you can piggyback or fire away.
I'll jump in.
But like I seen deficits personally as a friend in this. The pitfalls to watch out for. Some like cautionary tales, because how much you can wound. Instead of a pen pal saying or sending a key, a typewriter key, maybe I just say K to response because I'm mad at someone or they've hurt me, and I just said, yeah, it sounds good. They know what that means, and it might hurt them beyond repair. So yeah, if someone hurts you, articulate it, and don't be afraid to say, man, that hurt, dude. Here's what hurt.
Like we saw with the M, he formulated a response that made sense and it went through what he was feeling, and chose not to do it and leave it more hurtful and ambiguous.
Yeah, on purpose, and we, I don't know if we do that. I do that, but we're all capable of doing that, and we don't know what that's going to do to tailspin someone that we call friend, because when we're friends and parents and when people let us love them, we have the keys and we have the power to so much joy and so much hurt for that person. Yeah. I've given someone the keys to it. I've given them access to this part of my heart, and it's a responsibility we got to take. We got to take seriously. And in this movie, we saw examples of how much their actions of their friendship can water their and can just really, really, really nourish their life and enrich their life. And we've seen, like you said, the example specific, how much it can just derail someone. And, I hate how many times I can think of times that things I've done or things that people have done to me, I hate being so fragile that it can tailspin me. But I got to really stop that spiral. And sometimes it's a quick text saying, you got a second? And I feel so soft saying that. Mm. But like reaching out saying, I'd rather reach out and have this repaired than leave it and just because it can build into something that's anger. It can build into resentment. It can build into just saying, well, I don't need that friend anymore.
I think you see that every time that Max gets a letter. It just builds and builds, and he can't control like the possibilities of why it sends him into an attack.
Yeah, and I think Tin did a good job of articulating that, like how that kind of crescendoed for him. The first letter, and then the second letter, and it's so relatable, and we have all these other tools and resources and supports and people at our expense, but there's still times that we feel that way. I think when you get a text message, or you see someone's text message, or you see a post on social media, and you're like, I would like to have been there. I would like to have felt that with you. You know what I mean? Those things right there. I mean, it's not pen pals, but we have social media now where we get feedback from hundreds, if not thousands of people, millions of people. And the one that's there, they don't have access though, because they're not your friend. You see that from a friend, and you're like, how do I respond to this? I don't want to respond to this. I don't think I like them anymore. Or a post that someone posted about you or about something that you did that was meaningful, and all of a sudden they've said it, and all of a sudden you're just on cloud nine because you got this feedback that meant something to them. Something that I did that I really thought was going to be nice. They accepted it that way. That's the kind of power that friendship has.
Nice.
And we got to be careful with that.
I agreed. I would say I'm like the opposite of you though, where I don't. You said the word fragile, but I don't think it. Like, I don't know, maybe susceptible. Where I feel way more insulated. Where if someone does something, I always will give benefit of the doubt. It's probably that, and I brush it off all the time. But that goes the opposite direction. Am I doing stuff that could affect someone else, but I'm brushing it off?
I remember you said that.
So
before.
I'm the opposite of you, where you might go, it could mean this, and this, and I'm like, it's probably not. I do that more often than not because I think it's protecting myself. So I go, it's benefit of the doubt, it's whatever, and I brush it off like it's nothing.
Yeah.
So a lot of times I can have friends that do stuff and they were like, anyone else might have taken that as a jab, where I'm like, probably not, and I nothing it.
Yeah.
But it goes the other way too, where I do stuff thinking it's nothing, and they take it as like, dude, that's kind of rough, and I'm like, oh, my bad. I had no idea.
Yeah.
I just like, because I do that to everything.
Yeah, sure.
And so nothing hurts me, but hurts everybody
We'll
else.
see about that.
I love that though.
But I'm the opposite way. So I go like, I brush. It's like, I don't know. Because growing up, I had so many close friends that just went away. They were best friends, mental health, possible suicide, moved away, got a good job, acts like they don't know me, and I'm like, maybe it's me. And I'm just like, it must be me. And then I just, whatever, I got a family, and like, that's important, and everyone else is kind of, they can benefit of the doubt. I give everyone benefit of the doubt constantly, and it's like, I'm protected, but they might not be protected from me.
Sure.
And so that's where I could see this in the movie, where same thing. It's just like, I'm thinking I'm doing what's right, and I didn't realize, he didn't realize how much it's affecting the other person in the friendship.
Yeah.
So
I picture you have a whole drawer of J keys.
C and K keys.
Well, the thing though is like, if not this podcast, where will you hear those two sides of that same coin? That is, it's a vulnerable thing to say, but I think it's such an important thing to say that there's ways to look at these gifts and these powers that we have that we give to friends, and I think most friendly banter falls somewhere in between those two things.
Right.
I'm going to accept, this is fine. Even some of the things we respond to each other, like I'll mess up something and blow off. You're like, yep, next time. That's the thing you say a lot to me, because you're probably forgiving, saying, I'm assuming it's exactly what you say it is. I'm not taking any ill will by it.
Do not take
Let's do it next time.
Yeah,
Whereas me, I'm like, what do you mean next time? Do I do this all the time? I mean, it's like, so it's just it's a case study of what exactly you're talking about right there.
If you ever think that I'm upset about something, just know I'm like, oh well. And I know you guys well enough to go like, that's fine.
I think it's awesome though to actually put it out there though, that people can hear that and say, my response is this and my response is that. Well, or anywhere in between, and they're all okay.
It's really, really hard to offend me. I feel like I have I've been stabbed. I've been shot at. I've had people try to hit me with their car.
Okay, enough about me, Tim.
And that's just by people in this
Just by the
room.
people right there. So
This must be awkward for you. I'm sitting right
I
here.
swear,
Tim.
I swear, my wife listens to this and just be like, I've trained him so well. I'm getting this.
She's just pushed the boundaries.
Yeah.
Like, nothing hurts me now.
Been married. It'll be 21 years this year. Fucking bulletproof. No, I'm kidding. He's got to mark the time.
Whenever you and I are on the podcast, I see Vod with his pen. Just marking it
Well, it makes it easier for me because there's times where I'll just skip around. Like if I know like, oh, I remember that part, I want to include that whole thing, I'll skip around. But then there's times where I'm like, I know he said it somewhere, so I have to like listen to the whole thing. So this helps. I'm like, okay, there's only 2 spots to look out for.
Either zing or
For now.
or
But I saw it's hard to with Max, like he's got Asperger's, so it's tough to pick apart his abilities as a friend because of how he thinks. So I'll try to balance it out here, I guess. But I noticed that Mary, in the beginning, when she started with the letters, she had thoughts of, am I being like overbearing? Am I too bold here? And her kind of very cognizant about, am I doing too much to this person? And willing to kind of step back if need be. But as the story went on, though, she wasn't as aware of that, and would ask more questions or said more things, and got to the point where she's using his case in her academics. So she got very loose with that awareness.
Yeah, like she wasn't aware of Max's whole process just to be able to respond to her. 'Cause there's a lot that he didn't respond to because there's like the sex stuff or love or relationship stuff where he's like, I don't know a lot, and it kind of that was it. But she doesn't realize all the effort that it took just to get him to the typewriter.
Right. Tin Man.
Oh, jeez.
What do you think about Ivy?
Ivy, the neighbor, the possibly blind neighbor. What do I think about her?
What do you think about her
What's her role in his life?
situation with Max and vice versa?
Okay, so she makes him soup on Sundays. Sometimes there's hair in there. After he got he was institutionalized. She was taking care of his one-eyed cat and his
And all of them-
goldfish. And then, he didn't even answer the door. She had to, kick the door in and be like, here's your pets back. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I
think this is one of the most underrated things in our story here.
bring
because
these on me.
he says that he doesn't have any friends. And I see Ivy and I say, that's a pretty good friend you got as a neighbor there.
Right. I wonder if he just didn't... I would say so. She's nothing but friendly. She's smiling through all the wrinkles.
She helps him out with his...
She feeds him. She helps him out with his animals. She doesn't just seem to have any negative
there's no
interactions with her.
There's no keeping score, as they put it last episode.
Yeah.
I like that.
She just does things as a friend.
Yeah, as a neighbor down on the hallway.
And
Hallway neighbor.
I feel like the only time that we see it reciprocated is that he gives her millions of dollars. But until that,
he shows nothing going back.
I can't even open the door for you so you can bring in the stuff that you took care of for me.
Yeah, yep.
I feel like he doesn't... does she go over to his place to cook, or does he go to...
He goes to her place. He
goes to her
cooks at
place.
her place, yeah.
So I feel like
that's weird. That's his he doesn't know how to... I feel like I'm far away. He doesn't know how to manage the relationship. He doesn't know what this is. She cooks food, okay, so I'm supposed to eat it. He doesn't know the rules,
right.
And there isn't an established communication
The
between
social
the two of
cues
them.
aren't there.
The social
That's why I
cues.
said it's hard for me to pick apart his abilities as a friend. But that one seemed like it was almost like, you said you had no friends, though.
Right. So what does he think
What
like
do you
a
think
friend is?
Yeah.
So a friend must be someone if that's his only friend, it's someone he talks to about what he's thinking about. Because he doesn't talk to, what's the doctor's name? It's not Hasselhoff. I was like, it's not the surfer or the lifeguard from Baywatch. It's not David. Yeah, maybe I must, because he knows his therapist is in a, that's the capacity for the therapist, right? That's his role. It's
Right.
not something.
It's like his brain can't overlap things, so that's his therapist.
Right.
Ivy is his neighbor. Mary
Yeah.
is my friend.
Right.
You know,
Right.
seems
Mary
that-
doesn't
that might
hold
be
any
his
other roles
thought
in his
process.
life. Yeah, yeah. It's not the neighbor who just cooks and does that. And they don't talk. It doesn't sound like they talk about anything emotionals related.
I think though it's important though. I think that we bring this up though, because even though he has Asperger's, we might be doing a little reflecting and saying, well, just because that person is my neighbor or member of or coworker or this or that, doesn't mean they can't also be friends,
Right.
And kind of recognize if they are being your friend in the same way that like Ivy's being his friend. So I think that's still important. I think that
I never thought of that. Yeah. He kind of just didn't know that role is. He must feel so isolated that he doesn't have anyone to fit into categories. Mm-hmm. If there's a few people that I've met who have Asperger's, that categories are helpful, putting them into certain spots and go, that's for this for this for this. If he didn't have a spot for a friend, not realizing that these people that he has interactions with could be or are kind of contributing to that category, but doesn't know how to put them in that, then it's a good thing to notice. I didn't even notice it.
I mean, we kind of discussed it already, but just this idea of recognizing where our friends are in life and what their thought processes are when it comes to certain things. So, I mean, like I said, I think we've discussed it, but I'm just putting a stamp on it here of, you know, when Max finds out he has Asperger's and he lets Mary know and refers to himself as an Aspie, it's kind of accepting that part of him as part of his identity and kind of knowing where some of that quirkiness and confuzzledness comes from and helping him kind of accept more of himself. And Mary verbalizes it in a way that says, hey, you've got this problem, you're flawed, and here's how you can fix it. Here's what's wrong with you. Instead of, accepting like, oh, it's great that you found out, where all this comes from. And so instead of thinking of it from his point of view, she kind of uses it for her own thing. So, just this idea of being able to see things from someone else's point of view, seeing what they're going through.
And to be careful with the hearts of those who give you the access to it. Because I don't think she had a whole lot of guilty intent there.
Right.
But she wasn't as careful as she could have been.
Right. I mean, she even said she wanted to understand more about,
Yeah.
his Asperger's. And she was proud that she was putting in all this effort to do that, too. Because I think it was more about, I want to know more about my friend. And it came off as, I used you to get published. And so now the last thing I'll bring up then is when to reach out. Because she had saved up money to go visit, and then that money turned into something else that turned into removing the beauty mark to wherever else her funds went. And she admits that she should have gone out to see him before. But it took her, 27 years to get out there? I'd say 20 because when she's like 10. I mean,
Right.
can't expect her to go out there.
Right.
But say 20 years. So it took her 20 years to go to save up the funds and actually go see him. Like as an adult, even as you see her on all these adventures, but when it comes to visiting her friend, there was never motivation strong enough to just go do it. Mm-hmm. And I feel like that's a part too, where improving as friends, when you have the isolation versus solitude, also knowing when to actually just go bother them, go bother your friends a little bit. And so by the time she actually does it, he's dead. But I think that's something important to point out as well. Is that
It's a very important lesson.
you need to know when to give space, but you need to know when to invade that space a little bit too.
Mm-hmm.
And that's tough too, because you don't know how accepting he would be if she just showed up.
That's right.
He's very regiment, very particular. Is that too much? Is it? But it's not something they talked about either until.
There's dignity and distance sometimes too. Like I'm going to give you. Yeah, but that's the thing about navigating as friends. Mm-hmm. There's so many. This is a clever movie.
I feel like she should have saw him before publishing a book. Yeah, I agree with that. Right. Maybe get some more.
Based on these 5 letters.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
But I feel like that comes with navigating a difficult, because it's kind of a difficult relationship. They're both isolated. They're both kind of flawed in their own ways.
And they don't have a whole lot of practice dealing with friends.
Right. They've
got exactly zero practice.
They don't have the pitfalls of other people's experiences to weigh in on. Mm-hmm. Use that as your you have to hit all the pitfalls yourself to realize where they're at.
They don't get a whole lot of social cues, like where you pick up, look what everybody else around you is doing. How do they handle it? They don't have they have none of that.
Well, I mean, a big part of it too is both characters don't have family. I mean, don't have parents to help guide this and give them confidence and give them guidance in life.
Yeah, I got all of that, and I still suck at it. At times. Other times I'm a rock star at it. But there are times that I got examples. Copious amounts of examples, and I got great parents, and I still screw it up sometimes. So I feel so bad for these 2 characters who are trying their best at their little friendship. You know what I mean? That's why it's such a nice, intimate little tale.
How about the effectiveness of using animation for such poignant themes?
I think I said right away that I thought it was really effective because you're able to show things. The rooster's able to be a character. There's things that are able to be characters that you wouldn't normally be able to get to act.
Yeah.
In a live action, you know what I mean?
It's almost like an episode of Scrubs, where fantasy they can film the fantasy and the thoughts and the weird versions of themselves that you couldn't do elsewhere. They made it cartoonishly silly. Like, so there's points where they're like, "Oh, that's what I'm thinking it is." Like, "Oh, you think she's in a kangaroo pouch?" Like, I thought it was neat too because he described a frisbee as a boomerang that doesn't come back. It's like, he's describing it for an Australian girl. Mm-hmm. But the animation is it was fun. Like I felt it like it kept it like innocent, like almost like how the whole movie has like a weird innocence with a twist of like adultness that kind of gets, I don't know, purified, I guess. I don't know how to put it, but like there's serious adult difficult themes, and to put it in a lens of like a child or it's like someone innocent, we could do it in claymation,
Yeah. And they were able to. Sorry.
I think narration helps with that too.
And narration too, yeah.
You have, if she's thinking these thoughts, it's like, okay, well, that's a kid thinking these thoughts. How cute. But when you have it come from a narrator who's this like proper British sounding guy saying these absurd, ridiculous things, it kind of amplifies it a little bit, I think.
Yeah.
Like the innocence of like, oh, that's how her brain thinks is, babies come from the bottom of a beer glass.
Or I wish I had a friend to play piggyback with and
that was funny.
each other. Wish I had a friend to piggyback with it.
And then
Honey. Honey.
They're able to show such emotion too with like the animation, the faces, the anxiety building, the eyes, the tremors, the
That
rocking.
was really neat. Yeah.
They're able to show and capture her loneliness and like show the tears and acting is good and film shots are good and lighting and stuff. Score is certainly good, but animation, boy, you can form it exactly. Nope, that's not it. I'm gonna dimple this a little. I'm gonna grab it. I'm gonna
exaggerate.
I can exaggerate it. It's almost like a caricature, taking a caricature of. And you think about it, you're exposing character in a caricature. Stop act. That kind of animation is all caricature. So you can someone's raw and intense emotions you can just articulate throughout. I think.
I know there's times when I know especially Tin Man will question when I say that everything's on purpose in movies, even if it's not. With animation, everything is on purpose because you have to create it from scratch.
To literally form it and mold it in order for it to be in the scene.
So not just claymation, but regular animation, where if you're drawing it, you're very aware of what things look like, where they are, what color they are, where they are in the shot. So you're aware of everything, and everything is on purpose. So with something like Mary and Max, when you're portraying these themes, you're able to focus in and funnel in everything that's important to what you're saying and kind of leave out the noise. And, there may be distractors in like just regular movies. There might be distractors in the background. There might be noise in the background. If you're on a busy street, what kind of car is this? What kind of building is that? Where are they? What's the street name? There's all sorts of distractors.
Set dressing that's not.
But in animation, it's all funneled down to whatever is most important to what the filmmaker is trying to tell us at that time.
Yeah.
Whether it be story specific or thematic, either way, it's all focused.
Yeah.
And you can make thematic choices in your characters too that you couldn't exaggerate as much in just regular film, right? So like our character, like Max, they see he kept getting wider as she got taller or whatever, so they're able to just make him wider.
Just literally wider.
And like the caricature you said, like of Mary, of how she looks and her birthmark, and like when she gets that weird haircut and there's dog poop on her shoe.
Oh yeah.
Like you can mold your characters whatever mindset you want for them and what you want your audience to feel, you can mold it to whatever your imagination says will speak to your audience.
Nice.
Was there any other thoughts on? There will be chapters in the future about animation, so I don't want to go like too deep into it.
Okay.
Black and white also was a choice, devoid of color. I mean, red. You got
The mailbox.
usually with like passion. We're looking at. I got our Valentine's Day fireplace, and there's just shades of red and roses on there. So just the idea of like passion and emotion and feeling, and it's sparse in there, right? And with Mary, you have a little bit more of that sepia tone, so it kind of tells you there's a little bit more of it there. And Max is just like straight up black and white with like splotches of red, and he even takes the red off his yarmulke when he's feeling depressed or angry or sad or whatever. He takes it off, but when he improved, he brings it back out and sticks it back up on there. Anything else for animation?
Nothing here.
How about the use of imperfection in the movie? Warts and all.
Warts and all. So we'll start with her. Start with her birthmark. The color of poo.
She even gets like a little wart on her nose as she gets older.
Oh, she does. I didn't notice that.
Yeah.
I don't know. She I feel like it signified some type of like she goes, I'm flawed or I'm imperfect. I'm the one who's at fault. And that's kind of like a scarlet letter type thing that she wears. Like it's like a red on her forehead. They make fun of her for it. They call her names for it. It signifies like that keeps her distant or not accepted socially or in her own family. She was an accident, you know.
I think the whole aesthetic is imperfect. The beginning of the movie just goes through all these different sets, and they're all, you know, it's animation. You could have made these lines completely straight and completely uniform.
That's true. The whole city is like kind of like like handmade. Everything looks handmade, not cut to square.
And every single character that we meet in this movie has something. Obviously, we talk about Mary and Max, but you talk about his parents. I mean, she killed herself. You talk about Mary's parents. The dad wasn't very attentive.
That thing.
Yeah. And then obviously Vera with take your pick on that one. But
Cooking sherry.
Testing
sherry. But the homeless guy outside of his apartment, everybody that littered, just
the only one that seemed perfect was the husband, and he had a stutter.
He had a stutter, yeah.
Yeah, or whatever his name was.
But it took, the end for Max to finally get it. Like, oh, nothing's perfect. No one's perfect. Life isn't perfect. Yeah, and that's why I'm confuzzled.
Yeah.
Because everything doesn't actually fit the way you think it should. We talked about, I don't understand why people break laws. Like, yeah, because we're all imperfect. So the answer to a lot of his inability to accept things and when he gets anxiety attacks is because people aren't perfect, and it's a struggle for him to understand that. K-Max, what'd you see?
No, I felt like we've kind of covered it with all the other topics, like how their imperfections. Just all it did was it kind of spotlighted the dynamic on how important being clear in your friendships are, being purposeful with what you say, and understanding the weight that it carries. I think that their imperfections were on purpose. I think obviously the filmmaker chose to have these two characters with such glaring imperfections so that it magnified how important it was to a kid that sometimes he's a little bit neurodivergent. That's a better way of saying it. He doesn't make the automatic connections that others make. And then she's from this abuse and very bullied childhood. That does something to a kid. And so being friends with her is going to be unique. So things that he did carried so much weight to her. So I think these two characters were made absolutely flawed at different ends of the spectrum to show us as the audience that look at how much each of these behaviors, each of these words carry going back. Look how they have the ability to heal and encourage, and look how these little words and actions have the ability to wound deeply and irreparably sometimes. So I think that's the role that Imperfections had in there, and we talked a lot about the specifics. I think I'm out of rounds there.
I'm glad that they made a term for it by the end of the movie, because I hesitate to say flawed. I hesitate to say issues or problems.
Sure.
I'm glad that they said imperfections instead, because that implies that it's just not perfect. That's all. It's not absolutely perfect, and that's fine.
Yeah, it's not broken.
Right. Not broken. It's not flawed.
Right.
Well, I'm so glad that both you guys said that too, because it's so hard to use the right language. Every group wants you to use the right language, and that's fine for everything. And that's fine too. But I think specifically folks that are born with different neurological wiring certainly have not chosen or made any kind of idealistic value or any kind of statement. Their wiring's a little bit different. And there's there's always a lack of, not always, but there's often a lack of dignity when we talk about folks that are born in that category. And it's so hard to find the right vocabulary for it. And it matters a lot to them, and it matters a lot to their parents and the people that love them. It even matters as far as how we help make those connections for them. Not help make them, but help them make those connections. Because we're the ones playing by these rules. We're the society. They're not, and it's not that they're not choosing to. They just don't have it's like they don't have the words to do it. Like I said, the sports car they can't shift. You know, we're all snooty about our automatic transmissions that work just fine. Whereas they have a lot to offer and they have a lot to feel. They don't have the code. You know, and I think about how frustrating that must be on some level. It must be frustrating.
Yeah.
Or maybe there's ignorance in it that it's like, I don't see this as I don't feel like I'm missing anything out because I don't value that.
Right.
I don't know the answer to that. You know, so I think it's important that we, in talking about Max here, you know, say those things and say, you know, he had these issues or whatever. Well, no more than I do. You know, my shortcomings that I have as a human being, we all do. We all have these imperfections. So we give grace. That's the way we've on depth perception. That's what we call it. So we give grace to everybody because we all have these imperfections.
I think Tin Man, you mentioned your big word of the day was authenticity, and I think it was shown at important points in this movie when Hasselhoff tells Max to write back to Mary, warts and all. That was kind of like the key, where it was like, just put it out there, man. Like just say what you're thinking, just say what you're feeling, and that's what helps to mend their friendship again.
Oh yeah.
So I thought that was important, that when we see it getting better, that's when we see authenticity between these two.
Yeah.
Because in the beginning, when their friendship started, it was, I don't have any friends. I don't have friends either. And that sparks the connection there.
Right.
But when it's not authentic and Max is sending the M to her, it's a gesture of pain or of hurt.
Yeah.
You know, I'm meaning to hurt you with this instead of just being authentic.
Instead of describing everything or talking, he's throwing a painful. He's throwing a hurtful message. Like you said before, it was like an ambiguous jab meant to inflict pain.
I think, it's the darkest hour when Winston Churchill's meeting with the king, and he said, "They say you're scared of me." He goes, "You're scary." He goes, "Who's scared of me?" He goes, the king says, "I'm scared of you." He said, "I never know what's going to come out of your mouth." He had the power to bless. He had the power to wound, and explicitly. He goes, "It's terrifying." You know.
Yeah, it's a good point.
So our last bit then, do you guys have a theme? Do you guys have a message that kind of puts together everything that you've taken from this movie about friendship or about anything?
Tough.
I knew he was going to do this.
Yeah. I kind of saw it coming, but I didn't prep.
Well, you guys saw this for the first time an hour and a half ago.
I love my alarm. Your heart rate has fallen below certain. I'm like, am I okay? Am I still here? Like when we're playing basketball, it's like, have you fallen? Like, come on, man. Creepers. I'm trying to be active for the first time.
It appears you've been in an accident.
Yeah, I showed them that too as we're playing.
Crash detected. What?
Crash detected. Should we call a medic?
Yeah.
Yes, but not for that.
Shall we call a helicopter for you?
Oh my gosh. So a theme.
I was stalling pretty good there for a second.
I know, right? That was a good stall for a minute. I think mine would be just the importance of the desperate importance of friendship across. Okay, let me try to add in one little bit to that. A little preface. A little prefix. Okay? Regardless of differences, friendship is vitally important. I'm patchwork quilt right there. But I want to make sure that the main thing is the vital importance of friendship. But I want to still talk about how the movie talks about how different these two characters were.
I mean, it was there. I mean, the movie's showing us just the scenes that matter for its message, but you could see how much those interactions meant in their lives. You know, it sent one into depression. It sent one to a psych ward.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah. I like how when he blatantly says, "Oh, I spent time here."
Yeah. Nothing new here except
Remember the three
I
big
won
things?
the lottery.
Yeah.
Someone
I was accused of manslaughter. I won the lottery.
arrested for manslaughter.
Unit.
What was the third one?
Arrested for manslaughter. Won the
Institutionalized.
lottery, and Ivy died.
Oh yeah,
I guess
Yeah. Yep.
Nothing here but just this. Oh, I would say the delicate nature of a friendship, how it can hurt and can enrich anyone's life.
I like that.
Beauty.
I changed mine.
C answer B.
Yes.
And again, I only ask you guys this question whenever we watch movies because it helps focus what you're getting out of a movie and appreciating
you got to put
it.
a thesis statement on it.
Yeah. So like it helps appreciate what it's doing rather than tearing down, because there's too many examples I hear of people that say, "I didn't like it. Why not? I didn't get it. I didn't understand it." Mm-hmm. Like, well, that's not reason to not like anything.
Right.
So that's why I for most movies that's going to be a question. Is just, what was your theme? What did you get from it? You know. Could still be different for every movie that we watch. Could be vastly different. I put accepting the imperfections of life, our friends, and ourselves.
Oh, that's good.
Life, our friends.
And
Yeah.
ourselves.
And ourselves. That kind of talks about all three of those.
What's that Valentine's? What's the heart he got from that kid?
Love yourself.
It was like love yourself first or something like that?
Yeah. Love yourself first, I think. Because you saw imperfections throughout the movie, and I feel like they were just kind of they went unnoticed for the most part. Or at least I just thought, oh, it's part of the aesthetic, and then you kind of you see the characters portrayed, and you think, well, none of them are like I don't want to say perfect, but like they all have something going on that they're dealing with, that's some sort of obstacle or
Struggle of some kind.
crack in the path.
Yeah.
You know,
Crack in their
there's
sidewalk,
something,
yeah.
you know. So then they put a nice bow on it at the end there, saying warts and all was the big thing, right? So I thought, well, that's our main thread woven through the whole story. There is everyone's got imperfections, and it took Max a while to accept his and even realize what his was. Then Mary, hers was tough because I think it also goes. It's a little underrated that she got rid of her birthmark on her forehead, and then she's changing her style, and it's harder for her to accept her imperfections. I think because she's so aware of them and reminded of them by other people, whereas Max lives in his own world, really. I think there's less interaction there. But with Mary, she's made fun of. She put in the thing, have you ever been made fun of? And
How do I stop people from teasing me?
Right.
Yeah.
So hers was, I think, like I said, underrated for emotional impact, because she tried to change those imperfections before kind of settling down and accepting them by the end, and having a child to, I think, diverge from why she's imperfect to having a new focus in life.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think how she deals with imperfections shouldn't go unnoticed, I think, in the
Okay.
movie.
As we were at I was at a birthday party earlier today, and my aunt has a bunch of beadwork out that she's selling, and my grandpa's going through it, and he's like, "Oh yeah, that bead's off. It's a different color." And they were like, "She's like, where? I'll fix it." He's like, "No, it's supposed to be." And we're all saying, because all beadwork's not supposed to be perfect. There's supposed to be a flaw in everything. He's like, "Nope, only the creator's perfect. It's supposed to be like that." My aunt's like, "No, I'm still gonna fix it though." He's like, "That's fine. I'll cut it off." That's an old native traditional thing. Beadwork is always supposed to have a flaw, a bead that's in the wrong spot, different color that's not supposed to be there, because everything is supposed to be imperfect. Only the creator is perfect. So it was a neat thing for 5 hours ago. Just at a party where that was my grandpa's conversation.
Another time that very timely episodes again.
Right?
That
Providence.
was a lesson I learned very young from my grandmother. I remember first when you're a little kid looking at this cool raised beadwork, and you hear that lesson, and it stays with you, and it's such an important lesson.
Well, I think that's all I got for you guys for this episode. It went by fast. We're already at an hour and a half.
Oh wow!
That was terrific. I thought the movie was terrific. I hope our listeners give it a shot, give it a view. I know some will.
Just be prepared. It's not very light. There is some heavy themes, and it is quite the journey that they're going to take you on.
Yeah, and I'm so interested to hear what folks have to say about it, because I know some of our listeners are clinicians in this kind of, working with folks, with folks with depression, working with folks that are on the spectrum, working with folks who, and who can't relate to the big vast themes of this, of friendships and the responsibilities in there. And let us know. I don't know. People are consuming on. I know on the Odyssey app, it's been delaying putting them out. Almost a full 2 or 3 weeks delaying it. So they'll be out on Spotify and on iTunes or podcasts,
Apple Podcasts.
Apple Podcasts. They'll be out.
I release them on YouTube as well.
Yeah, they'll be out on all 3 or 4 of those platforms, but the Odyssey's been holding back, and will release like 2 at a time. And that that's, people ask for what the feedback's been, and I've had 5 or 6 folks tell me that, well, we give you feedback, but it's not out yet. I'm like, yes, it is. Stay with us, though, folks. There's new content we've been putting out.
Yeah, that's out there.
And boy, we do love hearing back from you. So keep doing that.
One more note. I thought that I asked you guys what you didn't think friends were responsible for. And I think we mentioned the idea of finding your own happiness. And I think that was true in this movie, too.
Sure.
The friends were there, and they can contribute to that happiness, and they can help you find that. But overall, it's still up to you to know what you want to do with your life and to still follow that yourself. So Mary, went to school, found a husband, was going to start family, but that was all on her. It wasn't, Max was not directly involved in any of those big things. And then for Max, his happiness, it consisted of just watching his favorite shows and winning the lottery and
Eating his
eating chocolate
hot
dogs.
creating a chocolate hot dog. He's so proud that he created it.
Yeah. I'll share you the recipe.
Which I really, really want to look into.
It looked like a caramello just inside a hot
That's
dog
exactly
bun.
what it looked like. It did look like a caramello.
A sesame seed.
A sesame seed hot dog bun. Caramello.
He was so excited to share the recipe.
Yeah.
That's what he said. Good movie, though, Vaz. I think it was a good pick.
Yeah, solid pick.
Well,
So what do we got to look forward to?
Well, we've got the friendship, and now we go through estrangement. And why that happens, and how we see that in movies. So it should be very uplifting.
Hope everybody had a good Valentine's Day.
back into the abyss again.
Yes,
Here we go.
yes. He let us have a straw from the Magai bog to breathe from for a little while. Now the straw's gone.
Yep, a straw for my mega bong, or whatever you said.
Back to the tar pits from whence we came, walking, waving, walking, waving.
Is that Sandlot?
The Flintstones.
Oh,
He's acting. And he's got to go walking.
oiling. That was.
Oh, good gravy.